Hi everyone, we are going to take a look at surrealism as an art topic and learn how to create our own surrealist image. Surrealism is an avant-garde art movement and cultural movement that emerged in the early 1920s, primarily in Europe. It sought to release the creative potential of the unconscious mind by juxtaposing and combining incongruent or irrational elements. Surrealism is essentially just creating a dreamlike state. The surrealists used real things, but put combined things together that wouldn't normally go together. So they would create dreamlike worlds without using like monsters or anything. Like everything that they used existed in real life. They just put them in dreamlike scenarios. Here's a quick timeline of how surrealism came to be. It started with Dadaism, which is an anti-art, anti-establishment art period from the 1916s. The very first exhibition was the official Surrealist exhibition titled Something in French. It was in Paris. And then the Surrealists kind of like took that movement and ran with it, and it really became super popular and like integrated into film and popular culture in the 1930s and 40s. The key characteristics of surrealism is works that often defy reality, the use of automatism techniques, basically creating unfiltered creativity, often using collage characteristics, so putting together images that wouldn't normally go together. That's kind of when collage was created and combining typography with art imagery. Surrealism was kind of like the very first like automation of art, which is why like AI integrates really well with this concept. I think that the surrealists, if they had the chance to use AI, would think that it's really cool, and I think that they would have utilized it a lot to create different artworks. Our key artists that we're talking about is André Breton, Salvador Dali, Rene Magritte. All three of these artists kind of worked together. They all kind of knew each other, and they did create different surrealist images, but they all ended up like a little bit different. These are three samples of images from the three famous artists. So this top left image is Salvador Dali's Time painting. This one's fairly famous. Everyone's kind of seen the like melting clocks. That was kind of his thing. He added a lot of melting clocks into his paintings. So that's kind of like a fun way to introduce surrealism into your artwork. This bottom one here is Rene Magritte's portrait. I believe this is a self-portrait. And he often included different fruit icons into his imagery, which has some sort of a symbolic meaning for him. And the top right one with the elephants is André Breton, and he added like regular kind of like safari type painting, but exchanged the heads of the elephants with trumpets, which is also like a very common surrealist thing. So it's kind of like most dreamlike to kind of least dreamlike. So you can think about adding in different particular symbols to your artwork. And that's kind of like a cool way to do surrealism. So for our art activity, we are going to use Adobe Express to create a generated image that exemplifies the characteristics of surrealism. You're going to create like a visually appealing, dreamlike world using Adobe Express and AI generated images, and then you're going to have a chance to share and reflect your work. So next I'll show you how to use Adobe Express. So I'm on the Adobe Express website. This is kind of what it looks like when you get there, and you're going to hit go to Adobe Express. You will probably need to create a free account, but it is totally free. You can use your school email address, or any email address is fine because it's completely free. And then it gives you kind of like a homepage of all of these options, and we're going to go straight to the image generator. And I'm just going to type my prompt in from this homepage, and I'm going to say create an image. I'm going to actually say create an artwork in the style of Salvador Dali that shows a dream like world, but with a modern twist. So I want to see what it does. I want to try to like modernize my image just a little bit more. And I like Adobe Express for image generation because it's going to take a second to generate the image. Maybe it's not working. So I like Adobe Express because it gives you a lot of options. So I've created my image in the style of Salvador Dali that shows a dreamlike landscape with a modern twist. And you can change kind of like the style that it comes out looking like. You can change the different results. So this one might be a little bit more what I'm looking for. You can add different graphics and you can actually like edit your image and your style composition. So if it created something that you weren't envisioning it, you can adjust your prompt. So I can say add in more surrealist style symbols, and we'll see what it creates within my image here. Sometimes it takes a little while to generate your image, but this one works pretty quickly. So my image is finished creating, and this is kind of what I was left with, which is kind of great. I think that this is kind of exactly what I was looking for. So once you do that, you can kind of like play around with the different adjustments. You can add more contrast to make it like more like bright or less bright. You can add the color saturation or warmth. You can add filters. You can add objects. Play around with your image until you kind of like get exactly what you like. And then you can download it and upload that image to our discussion board so that we can all see each other's images. And don't forget to answer the reflection questions for full credit. Let me know if you guys have any questions.